Dear friends, it's the 15th of December, and I want to go over an issue that's been playing in the Western press, especially on YouTube and places like that, a lot. The supposed demotion of General Suroviken. The Western media is playing this, and they have to, because Solidar is lost, Sol is lost, the Ukrainian defense is ripped open. Two encirclements are going north to the north side and south to Bakhmut, Artyomovsk. And a very large chunk of the Ukrainian defense is being destroyed. And that's a lot of Europeans and Americans there getting killed too. All those little mercs are getting exterminated. Well, primarily it's Poles as far as the mercs go, but their body count's climbing fast. So they have to start this BS about Suroviken. Suroviken is being replaced. Suroviken has not been replaced. What actually happened should really scare the shit out of the West, and it does, which is why another reason that they're playing this. What happened, first of all, Gerasimov was the head of Secretary of Defense, basically. Well, not Secretary, but the military side of Secretary of Defense. Joint Chiefs of Staff. That. Head of Joint Chiefs of Staff, if you want to call it that, for the American equivalent. And it's just been confirmed that he's the boss. And he is the boss. It just got further confirmed. Suroviken is still in charge of the fighting, except what happened was that two very large and time-consuming responsibilities of Suroviken have been removed. There's going to be a new general in charge of supply chain, logistics. There's going to be another new general in charge of training the reserves and managing the training. So, what does that leave Suroviken? That leaves him crystal clear on one topic only. The total destruction and extermination of Ukrainian and NATO forces in Ukraine. First order being Poles and Romanians already there in large numbers. So yes, that does scare the crap out of the West, because that just means it's triple down and there's no going back. While they're watching the defensive line getting torn to pieces, the strategic reserve has been thrown in waves. First it was thrown in to try to hold it, and a good chunk of that strategic reserve that was being rebuilt after the previous strategic reserve got wiped out in Kharkov and Khersonov. We moved back and just bombed the crap and treated the crap out of the Ukrainian strategic reserve. New strategic reserve is being built up for spring. Most of that's been used either A, to hold the line and it's failed, or B, to try to close the line, and that's failed. There's been multiple heavy attacks and they've all been broken. Russian aviation is in a target-rich environment, and the artillery just, pretty much a pop wherever you want, and you're going to wipe out some NATO fuck or one of those Ukrainian meat bags that's coming in. Ukraine is now taking in children at 14 and people up to 60 years of age, including invalids, into service. So yeah, they're scraping. I mean, pretty soon it'll be 10, 12-year-olds. The kids they're pulling in now haven't ever shaved. But hey, it's good for America, well, for DC and London, because hey, it's only meat. And Poles are loving that too, because it's even less man meat. And they'll use the women to breed more Poles, to make up for all the thousands of Poles getting wiped out or getting invalidized as the war goes on. So you got to replace that. And if you can get rid of the male population, which Poland is doing very effectively on the Ukrainians. Too bad the Ukrainians are too stupid to wake up and realize they're being exterminated. They're being herded off that cliff, and we're the rocks at the bottom of that cliff. The West is very happily herding them all off that cliff, hoping to break the rocks at the bottom. If you throw enough lemmings down there, maybe something will happen. Oh, and for further news, for all you, there's no Nazis in Europe and America, and definitely not in Ukraine. It's all hunky-dory Russian bullshit. Rheinland Steel, the guys that make the American cannon tubes for the Abrams tanks, and they're also the main manufacturer of the Leopard 1, Leopard 2 tanks. Their management has said that they're ready to put 88 tanks into Ukraine. 88 tanks. I'm sure almost everyone who's listening to this is probably clueless on what that means. Why 88? Why not 90? Why not 80? Why not 85? 88 because it's a sum made of 8 and 8. Now look up the number, the letter that's in the 8th place in the English alphabet, or the Latin alphabet. That's the letter H. 88 stands for HH. What does HH stand for? Heil Hitler. It is an old code used by Nazis. The fact that the management, the top management of Rheinland-Stahl, one of the biggest companies in Germany and Europe, one of the biggest tank manufacturers in the world, has put that out. Says a lot about what or who is running the show in the West. They're not hiding anymore. They don't need to hide anymore. That beast, that demonic beast that was everybody thought was dead. Well, it laid its eggs in back in Washington via this Operation Paperclip, and all the Nazis that were quiet Nazis that were in Washington and London that had supported Hitler. And it's been growing. It's grown for 3 generations. It's been hiding under different masks. The masks are basically off. I mean, let's not forget, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Germany, made a joke that on the anniversary of Kristallnacht, if those of you don't know what Kristallnacht was the big Nazi program, the first big Nazi program against the Jews. Well, it was Kristallnacht because it was a night of crystal. Crystal because of all the broken glass of all the Jewish businesses that had been windows have been broken out, people have been beaten, murdered, etc. So they made this joke on the night of Kristallnacht. Treat yourself, get an extra helping of or an extra order of chicken or something else that they were advertising. Oh, they apologized for that. Yeah, the Western scum like that makes jokes like that. They always apologize. You know, their apology is about as worth as much as their souls. Not much. Unfortunate to say. So yeah, Nazism is out and out. I mean, it's in your face. Granted, 95% of Americans will ignore it. They'll walk out of it. They'll talk about it, something else. They'll be more worried about whether they can chop off their little boys' nuts or chop off their little girls' breasts to make them transgender fluid or whatever the other satanic crap that's been pumped in their heads. And they'll ignore this. Because this time, they're on the side of the Nazis. They are the main base of support for the Nazis. Congratulations. Hell, your grandfather's great-grandfather climb out of their graves, I'd slap you silly for this. They fought and died against the Nazis, so you could be part of the Nazis. Congratulations. And congratulate your leadership. So anyways, such is the news on this Sunday. Unfortunately, on God's day, well, every day is God's day, but on Sunday, there isn't too much better news. As the world continues, at least the West, continues it's not even a slide, it's not even a fall, it's a head-run dive into Satanism in all of its glory. Enjoy. And for those of you who aren't part of this or don't want to be part of this, I urge you to break away. And if any of you, by the way, want to immigrate here, we can talk. I can give you information on how to do that. It's not easy anymore. It was never easy, but it's gotten harder, thanks to people like Biden. But life goes on. So, fight the good fight. Go with God. Fight the good fight.